My name is Hutch, and I make videos and put them on the internet. And Clayster is a pro in the COD scene, or FaZe Clayster. He's been a pro in the COD scene for a number of years now. Former X Games gold medal winner, former COD Champs winner, and a number of other titles in MLG. Super interesting pro to watch on the scene. He can just explode at any minute, and his gameplay is among some of the best you've probably seen when he's at his best. And I didn't ever really have a chance to sit down and have a chat with him, so I invited him to come on to an episode of Quality Time with Hutch to talk about the start of his career, where he thinks his career is going, and everything in between. As far as the gameplay that plays in the background, it's just meant to be filler. It's not meant to sync up or anything like that. I'm not playing the game as I'm talking to him. I just recorded it like a podcast. Speaking of which, if enough of you guys bug me, I'm sure I can put these on SoundCloud, so you know, those of you that are on YouTube don't have to use too much data. If enough of you guys in the comments section pipe up about that, I'm sure that can be arranged. Anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and enjoy your weekend.
What's up, you guys? My name is Hutch. It's Friday, which means we're going to be spending some quality time with Hutch. And I asked Mr. FaZe Clayster to come on and have a little conversation with me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me on. It's been a little while since we've had a good talk.
I can't remember, like, I feel like the only time that we had interactions was when you subbed for certain people when we were playing Old Men of Optic on Ghosts.
Yeah, I think that's the only time we played a couple of Old Men of Optic matches. I remember Warhawk S&D specifically quite a few times.
Did you like Ghosts, by the way?
You know, I'm impartial. I think it had its good parts, it had its bad parts. I think the biggest problem I had with Ghosts was the game modes. Playing Domination and Blitz is not fun, but Search on Ghosts, I did have a good time playing.
Search wasn't bad, yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan of Ghosts. Like, I didn't play competitively, but the pubs were not my favorite. But when you played S&D, it was pretty okay, I thought. Like, some of the maps played pretty all right. Okay, so I haven't even done like a proper introduction. Can you talk a little bit about, like, you have many accomplishments within competitive COD. What are some of the titles that you've won?
Yeah, so I mean, my most notable ones are, you know, the X Games gold medal. It's pretty much the one I brag about the most because most people understand what an actual X Games gold medal means. Actually did win that one with Optic back in Ghost. And then other than that, won COD World Championships in Advanced Warfare, got MVP for that. So those two right there are kind of my claim to fame.
Yeah, you went off that year. I was watching. I didn't watch the finals, but I watched you play a bunch of other games within that tournament, and you were going off.
Yeah, when athletes talk about the zone, I felt like I was in the zone that whole tournament. It was honestly, it's kind of a blur to me looking back on it, but I just know I played really well, so that's all that really matters.
So you would place the X Games, I almost said X-Files. You would place the X Games a little bit higher up as far as what you're proud of with your accomplishments more than COD Champs?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the X Games gold medal, nobody even really predicted us to even break into the medal placings. And so then to win it with the team that we had and the struggles we went through, and just it being an X Games gold medal, you know, in 20 years, I could say to some people, hey, I have a COD World Championship ring. They're not really going to know what that means. But when I say, hey, I have an X Games gold medal, everyone's like, wait, what? For what? So it kind of brings that notoriety to it that every casual person or anybody who's just doesn't even know anything about video games will know what it is. So I kind of hold it in a little higher regards. Not too much, just a tiny bit.
And they don't have any kind of a prize pool for that too, huh? It's like purely bragging rights.
Yeah, it was just for the medals, and you know, I'm happy with it. It's fine. Even though we won it, some money would have been nice, but to have that gold medal, it's hanging on my wall right behind me right now. It's a pleasure, man.
So how did you can you explain to me the earliest you remember thinking to yourself, okay, here's my guess. My guess is that you did not set out to become a professional gamer, because who did that back then? Like, I'll bet you some people are doing it now. I'll bet you a lot of people are doing it now, some younger kids. But maybe you had something different in mind. Maybe you didn't know what you wanted to do. Or maybe you did know for a long time that you wanted to be a pro competitive gamer. Can you talk about the moment that you realized that it was actually a possibility, and that you the moment that you decided to devote your time and resources and energy towards exploring that dream?
Yes, I mean, there's kind of moments throughout my career where I've taken it more seriously or less seriously, but it all really started when I found game battles after I'd reached the max prestige. I was kind of just hanging out playing game battles with a bunch of different people, and then they had a 1v1 MP5 tournament on Shipment for COD 4, and I ended up winning that for $500. And I think that was the first moment where I really thought, like, hey, I could actually make some money off of this. And this is back in like 2008 or so. So I was, all right with it. I didn't really take it as seriously as, I could have, but back then there wasn't any money. $500 was everything back then. So I was just happy to be pulling in a couple hundred every couple of months or whatever, and going to school at the same time. And I think that moment where I finally decided to devote everything to it was the very beginning of Black Ops 2. I teamed with Unite, Spacely, Huddle, and Slack. It was 3 young kids. They were like 15, and 16 years old. We ended up placing second place at MLG Dallas 2013, and that was the moment when I was like, oh, wait, I just won $3,000 getting second here. That wasn't even first place. What could I possibly do if I started getting first? And so once I got that second place, after playing for quite a while and not really seeing the success I wanted, it kind of made me dedicate and motivate myself for just like the long run. I, dropped out of school. It was a really big kind of decision for me to do. I got a lot of help from my family and friends. I stopped going to work. I just mainly devoted everything to COD, and I'm fortunate and lucky enough that it all paid off.
Where were you working at the time?
I was working for my school's newspaper. I was going to college up at West Virginia University, and I actually worked for the daily print up there.
Yeah. So did you end up getting a degree, or did you leave that behind to explore this?
So I have 2 semesters left on my psychology degree to get my bachelor's in psych. I will go back and finish it. It was just at a time where I remember we had a tournament every weekend all throughout October. And so if I'm leaving Thursday and getting back Monday, you can't really miss that much college classes, especially where I went to college. I would auto fail just because of the absence. So it made sense, if I wanted to keep my GPA good and I wanted to fully dedicate myself, to take a step back. And I do have those 2 semesters left, but as soon as all this video game stuff dies down, I will for sure go back and get that bachelor's.
Why did you pick psychology?
Psychology is just one of the things that's always kind of interested me, man. It's I love the way the human brain thinks and just kind of forms the pattern it does, from the way it reacts to things to, dealing with certain like emotions and outside influences. I don't know. It always all interested me, and it still interests me pretty greatly. And I think I apply a lot of what I learned in psych to a lot of stuff inside competitive COD, because in the end, it comes down to a really big mental game. Did
you want to be a therapist? Did you want to be a social worker? What did you have any kind of goals, or did you just know that you were interested in that subject matter?
So I was just interested in the subject matter. After going through as much as I did of the schooling, I was planning on being a psychologist and then going to do my pre-med and getting my psychiatry degree. And so eventually work my way up that way. Requires a lot of grad school and a lot more schooling than I kind of anticipated doing. But at the time, it seemed like the only logical solution, because, social working and guidance counselors are all cool and they're all necessary, but it's not something that I could see myself getting really passionate about.
It's tough. It's tough to support yourself when you're making, they don't pay them very much to do social work, which is unfortunate. We should be taking care of those people a little bit more. Can you talk a little bit about team chemistry? I'm wondering would you prefer someone who was, okay, so you have 2 players to choose from as far as a teammate goes. You have one player who goes off on the main stage like every game he plays, but can cause a lot of personality clash with the rest of the team, maybe with yourself. Or would you prefer the person who gels with the team more, but maybe loses a little bit more of the gunfights than the first guy?
So that one's tough, because I've been on both sides of this coin. I've been with the teammates who are very, very talented, but also very abrasive and kind of tough to get along with. And then on the flip side, I've also been with really nice teammates who don't play as well as they should. So after experiencing kind of both sides of that, I think I would honestly go for the guy who is a little more tough to get along with, but he goes off on main stage, because in the end, it's kind of what we do as a business. We're out there to get championships and win. Yeah. So if somebody's up there and they're performing when they need to perform, it really doesn't matter how they are outside of the game. As long as we get our practice in, they're dedicated and motivated. Personal feelings, I don't think, should get in the way.
Well, it makes sense that you would say that, just because you've also been doing this for a long time. So maybe your answer would have been different like the first couple of years, but I imagine after doing this for a long time, even personality differences start to affect you less, because you're more focused on your own success and the team's success. So maybe you're able to let some of these things go where maybe when you were younger it was a little bit more difficult to let them go.
Oh,
I'm not
100%.
sure.
I could see where you're coming from there. It's like a lot of I remember kind of coming up in the scene. I didn't want to team with a lot of players because I thought they were just like too angsty or too, I had a multitude of different reasons why I didn't like people. Nowadays, it's like if you can play well and you can perform well, I'm down to team with you. I've been with the same team for 2 years just because I know we have just that level of talent. And there might be some personality clashes or personality issues with them, but like I said, I kind of just toss it off to the wayside and focus on what we have, the task at hand.
Yeah, you guys seem like you gel. This team that you got, it's pretty rare to have a team stick together with that core four for 2 years. I mean, that's
exactly, man. And I'm blessed to kind of be a part of it. We haven't had the championships that we think we kind of should live up to, especially when the team first formed. We won like 3 out of 4 events we played together, and those are the last events we won. So a lot of people have kind of hated on us for that, but it's something that we're trying to apply like a real life sports psychology to our team. It goes back to what I said. We have the talent. The talent's there. We can perform with the best. It just comes down to putting those pieces together. And I feel like sticking together and that loyalty and building that chemistry is so much more valuable than any kind of mechanical skill or any kind of, if somebody makes more plays than one of my current teammates, I think that really doesn't matter, because in the end, we can all shoot back. And as long as we all make sure we put the pieces together, then everything else will fall into place.
Walk me through a little bit sort of how you feel in the moment when you're in the middle of a long competition. Like, where I'm coming from is, if I play 4 hours of Old Men of Optic, I am like so drained, and I don't want to I need to step away from the computer screen for a little bit, go downstairs, eat some food, something. But you guys are playing from like sometimes like 9 in the morning until 9 at night. I mean, you have these stacked days where you're just doing nothing but play Call of Duty. Like, I know you're spirited and you're competitive and you want to win these things, but do you ever have games in the middle of the day or towards the end or whenever where you feel like just drained and exhausted and you have to sort of just summon everything in you to finish that game? Or do you find yourself like sufficiently hyped for the full day?
Oh, we get drained 100%. Fatigue and mental fatigue is something that we've kind of been focusing on as a team over the past 6 or 7 months. It ties back into what you wouldn't think would be important because we're video game players, but the diet that you do and the amount of exercise that you do, especially leading up to the event, can play a big part in how long it takes for you to get fatigued. So one of the things we've kind of made sure of doing is just like eating right throughout the day, making sure you eat throughout the day, because a lot of times there isn't time to eat. So we got to make sure we have our coach replays, bring us food, bananas, like, energy bars, stuff like that. And then staying hydrated, because there's been multiple times when we've been at an event and we've gotten to the finals or gotten later in the day on Saturday or early on Sunday where I can just tell we don't have any gas. Like, nobody's really has the energy you need, the mentality you need. Everyone's just kind of going through the motions, and it's tough. It's tough to get out of that, because in all honesty, once you're tired, it's hard to get untired. One of the things that we kind of do is, if we get to that stage, I'll make them go do like some jumping jacks in the back or some high knees and stuff, just to get the blood flowing. Because if you don't have the energy to compete at that high of a level, like, you're not going to be thinking at that high of a level, and you're going to be not shooting at that high of a level. So you're not going to win. You need to be fully full of energy and, at least have something in the tank to tap into, because otherwise everything's just going to be flat.
How do you do meal prep for these? Because you're like on the road, so if you're going to eat like a full healthy meal, do you guys go to like Trader Joe's the night before and like put something together, or is it just making the best of the food that they have at the venue?
It's a little bit of both. We'll go to Trader Joe's or a grocery store beforehand and try and get at least one good meal for each person a night. So at least during the nighttime, we have something to eat that's, healthy and good for us, and then we can go to sleep on to at least, re-energize our body for the next day. But during the day, it becomes kind of what you can get. We'll try and hit as many little like convenience or health shops along the way, get some kind of salad or some fruit or Jamba Juice or whatever it may be, just to keep the nutrients up. We try and find stuff that really just is full of nutrients, but is really easy to eat. Because like I said, we don't have that much time. It's usually like 15 minutes, go get something quick.
Yeah.
So we usually try and have something planned or a location planned where we're going to kind of supplement how little time we actually do have to eat.
Sure. Yeah. I didn't think about diet at all until just recently. Because I wasn't competing, number one, but it just wasn't really affecting me all that much, or I didn't feel like it was affecting me. And then just recently I've started to understand the value of having a balanced diet and eating good foods. And yeah, I suspect that would make a big difference in how you're playing. So how do you balance being a competitive gamer and having a relationship?
That one is something that took me quite a while to figure out. You know, I met my girlfriend luckily through the gaming scene. I met her at UMG Nashville. So
you guys have been together for a minute.
Yeah, like 2.5 years now, man.
Yeah.
It's been a really good time. It's the longest relationship I've ever had, and honestly, I love the girl to death. She treats me very right, and it just comes down to a level of understanding. I think when you're a professional gamer, your significant other has to understand what exactly you do. I ran into the issue a lot with girls in college where they're like, you're just playing video games. Why don't you want to hang out with me? It's like, no, I'm practicing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not. You're just sitting there playing video games. It's like, nah, well, I'm practicing for a $100,000 tournament or whatever.
Yeah.
So it becomes this weird thing where, you know, I went through probably 4 or 5 where they just didn't get it. And I couldn't deal with it because, you know, you can't have a girl sitting there nagging you when you're trying to practice. So
No.
it comes down like my girl, I met her at an event, and luckily enough, she understands everything I have to do. She supports me fully. When I have to go away for the weekend for a tournament, she fully supports me, will send me texts and leave me cute little notes and stuff. And I think that's honestly the best way to balance it, is not even have to balance it. Just have a girl that understands what you do and kind of accepts you for it, man. I feel like that's the best way to do it.
Does she go with you to events these days? She used to go to a lot of your events, right?
Yeah, she comes to most of them. We live in Austin, Texas now, and we do have a puppy. So she's come to less because she stays home to watch the dog, or she can't afford to come out. Obviously, I'll help her because I fly out there for free, and sometimes, so we'll split the cost sometimes. If it's a big one, she's going to be there. If it's like a Champs or an X Games or something like that, she'll be there. But if it's one of kind of the lower tier tournaments, she'll just choose to stay at home and stream. You
guys moved to Austin. That's awesome, man. I just visited there for the first time. I went to DreamHack like a week and a half ago. It was a fun city. That is like
amazing,
6th Street was so lively on like a Thursday. It was great.
Yeah, unfortunately, that weekend of DreamHack, I was actually playing my week of the Global Pro League in Columbus, so I couldn't even go to the DreamHack, and it was in my city. I was pretty upset about it.
So do you find that because when your girl stays home, do you find that you're able to focus more on the tournament? Has she ever come and you felt a little bit distracted?
That's one thing I could say she's never done. She doesn't distract me from the task at hand, especially when I'm at tournaments. It's kind of, even if I'm being pissy at her for whatever reason, if we lose a match and I'm being kind of rude, she takes it all in stride and knows I'm just upset at the game. It's something I kind of am super impressed with her about, is her ability to handle me when I'm at a tournament, because I kind of a little temperamental and whatnot just because of everything going on. So she's definitely never been a distraction. It's always been all support from her way.
That's good. It's good to hear that. That's tough to find that, especially like when they're young.
It really is, man.
When you're young, I think you think about yourself more, and you think about, well, what am I getting out of this? And so it's, to hear someone acting selflessly, that's cool. That's impressive. It's a good quality. It's a very rare quality. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's a very rare quality.
Oh, I'm very well aware. That's why I'm kind of holding on to her. You know what I'm saying?
So walk me through your time on FaZe here. Like, what was it like getting the call? Who called you, invited you on the team? Was it Tommy?
It was a mixture. It was kind of, I knew that me and Attach were looking for 2 teammates after replays and JCap were kind of released. It was a mutual agreement. We were looking for 2. I had asked Ian, Enable, and Zuma if they wanted the team, and they kind of told me no at first. And so then I hit up their teammates, who were Slasher and Hook at the time, and I was like, hey, do you guys want a team? They started considering it, and when Zuma and Enable found out they were considering teaming with us, they were like, oh, no, wait, our teammates don't even want to team with us. We'll team with you. So it was like, okay, well, our initial plan worked out anyways. So I wanted them to come over to Denial, and it was Temper and Enable that called me, and Banks. Banks was on the call at the same time as well, and they called me and were like, hey, we know you want our team to come to Denial, but what if we offered you everything that Denial's giving you, and you just come be the captain of FaZe? So it's kind of a no-brainer in that sense, because
that's not a bad sitch.
Yeah, if they're offering me the exact same salary and captainship and perks, but it's FaZe or Denial, it's an obvious choice. So it kind of worked out in the end, just from me and Attach not having 2 teammates to then me being the captain on FaZe with 3 really good teammates.
So how do you survive you said 2 years of the same squad. How do you survive personality differences, clashes, confrontations, conflict? How do you get through? How do you get through that as a team and then keep your eyes on the prize? Because there's no way that you guys haven't had like arguments and fights in the last 2 years. So, but you're still here.
Yeah, it's like any friendship or any even roommates you live with, because we all have this pro house in Austin, so we're living together now, and it's one of those things you just have to be adults about it. You have to understand that, you know, if you get angry at somebody for making a bad play in game or something, it's not like they're coming into the game saying, "Hey, I want to play bad today." You know, they don't, you know, they're not, that's not going through their head. You have to understand that there's reasoning behind it, logical explanations. You have to just treat each other with respect and act like adults. If you have a problem with somebody and you have an issue with them, bring it up to them. Don't say it on stream. Don't say it like to temper or somebody. Like, go talk to them and talk about it. And if you can't come to a resolution, then you bring it to the rest of the team, and then you kind of figure it out from there. It's something that we've kind of made up as a team, where if 3 people are all saying one thing and one person is going against it, no matter what it is, if that one person is in the minority, then they have to listen to the other 3.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like a democracy in that way, because there's times when I'm the captain and I think the game should be played a certain way, but all 3 of them are telling me, no, this isn't what we should be doing. We should be doing this other thing. Normally, captains would just be like, no, we're doing it my way. But we kind of allow this free flow of ideas and respect to each other. That's like, okay, all 3 of my teammates are telling me I'm wrong. Maybe I should listen to them because I respect their opinion. They're good players, you know. So it kind of all falls in line with itself.
Me and my pals, when we play, man, I tell you, like, the thing that gets me more pissed than anything else is if I have any of them in my ear telling me how to play or what to do. I just want them to shut up half the time. But then when I'm dead and I'm spectating, I'm very vocal about what I want them to do. It's super dysfunctional. It's good that you guys don't have that.
Oh, no, we definitely have that. It's actually been something that we've talked about. They're like, Clay, do not talk in clutches. Just shut your mouth during clutches. So,
do you play Counter-Strike too?
Oh, yeah. In my free time, I play a decent amount of Counter-Strike.
What other games do you play in your free time?
Oh, I'm a gamer, man. I play everything. I play StarCraft. I play Rocket League. I play H1Z1. I play Counter-Strike. I play Path of Exile. I mean, dude, I'm all over the place. I play everything.
What division are you in Rocket League for this season?
I've actually, we're not that good. We're gold 2, but
okay.
At least we're not silvers. So I'll take that. I'll take that.
We finally got up to platinum. Me and my pals that play that game felt good. I can't get above gold
to play
Nova.
Some good people, man.
Yeah, Rocket League is tough, dude. And do you watch the pro scene at all? Like, those guys are incredible. When they play, it is like truly a sight to behold.
Yeah, man, it's like a work of art watching. It's kind of reminds me of Smash Brothers a little bit, when 2 pro players are playing each other and it just looks like ballet almost. Just like them like beautifully dancing around each other. I just loved it, man. And I think that's really what got me into Rocket League. I was watching the pro league about 3 or 4 months ago, and I was like, wow, this game has gotten a lot more complex than when it first came out.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit, we'll wrap this up pretty soon, but can you talk a little bit about how you figured out, at what point did you figure out like, oh, I might actually be good enough to like do this and like go for it? Like, was there some tournament that you played in, or was it, or I mean, I guess I'm looking for like a standout moment, or was it more of a slow burn? Like after some time?
Yeah, I think kind of like what I said earlier was with that MLG Dallas tournament with the 3 young guys.
Yeah.
It was a defining moment, I guess you could say, is when we beat Optic at that tournament 3-0. I had like a really monster performance, and Optic at the time was coming off of MW3 being one of the best teams ever to play the game. And so going into the Black Ops 2 and then beating them at the first tournament with the squad of young kids, it was just like the fuel of the fire. Like, oh, wait, I can actually really do this now.
Yeah. How many like hours a day do you need to play to stay fresh? And do you, like, and another question I would have is, do you take time off of video games? Do you ever like tell yourself, all right, I'm going to go take 2 weeks and go to, the Grand Canyon or something like that, just to kind of keep your mind fresh? Because some people, like chess players, they'll step away from the game for a little bit and then come back and they'll find that actually helped them out.
Definitely, man. It's something that you can overplay, you can overpractice, you can get like burnout's a thing. So we have a pretty rigorous schedule in terms of when we're practicing every single night. from anywhere between 4 to 8 hours. It just depends on if we can find a team to practice against, if we can find good practice, all these kind of things.
When you say every night, you mean literally 7 nights a week?
Literally every night. We don't take nights off. You have to send it through approval. It has to get approved by our coach, replays, and approved by our manager. In a sense where if we want to take one night off, we have to kind of go down this line of like, hey, can I take tonight off? All right, let me ask your boss.
Seriously? Is that do all the teams do that?
Not all the teams. It's something that FaZe has kind of instilled in the past year and a half or so. They're kind of trying to up the ante. We have a lot of fines and stuff we can get fined for, so I can't really speak about it too much. Sure,
I understand.
They've definitely upgraded their level of professionalism. So
wow, yeah, I had no idea that they actually did that.
Yeah, man, it's I respect it, and I actually enjoy it because it keeps everybody accountable. You can kind of hold every single body accountable for being on a certain time. Like, you don't have to have one of your teammates be like the mean guy, the bad guy to you, like, get on tonight. It's like, no, we have to get on because we're professionals and this is what we have to do. Yeah. But the whole taking time off, we plan our vacations. So after Anaheim, we have a little break, like a week or two. That's like one of our free times. So where during that week or two, you can go home, you can go see your girlfriend, you can go on vacation, you can go do whatever you want. But if it's not during that free period, then you kind of like, you can't really go just say, hey, I'm leaving for 3 days and going for a long weekend. It's like, that's not really acceptable. So, we have to stay fresh, but I totally agree with the stepping away to keep the fresh mind, because we actually just took a week break after our pool week in the Global Pro League, and we started playing again, and we were all just like, our motivation's back, our fire's back. We were all getting kind of burnt out, but now we took a little week off, came back, fresh mind, fresh body, and just going from there.
You guys excited for Champs?
Oh, I'm beyond excited. I can't wait.
Champs is like one of those tournaments where it feels like it's like truly any given Sunday.
Yeah, man. Anybody just who shows up on all 3 days can win the tournament.
The level of competition brings out the best in some people, and it brings out some weaknesses in other people, and it just creates so much variation. So it's like, it's always so hard to predict those things, you know? It's like, and it's like super stressful to watch from a viewer's perspective. Like, I was watching the Optic guys last year when they got eliminated, and it was, oh my God. It wasn't you guys. You guys were playing right next to them, I think.
Yeah, we got eliminated at the same time as them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh my God. That was nuts, man. Like, they got down to a game 5, round 11, 1v1, and it was just brutal.
I remember our map 5 was about to start, and
who were you guys playing
lost.
again?
We were playing Splice,
that's
the
right.
second place finisher. So we were about to start map 5, and all of a sudden we just hear the Cloud9 guys erupt, and we were like, what is going on over there?
Dude, it was nuts. Yeah, I was watching both you guys play at the same time there. That was crazy. That was a lot of fun.
It's crazy to me. Like, my family and friends have always said, like, it's so stressful watching, and I'm like, yeah, you should play. And then I actually took some time to watch a couple games at CWL Dallas, and that is way more stressful than playing because you have no control.
Yeah, you're totally out of
just
control.
Like, you see the X-ray, you're like, right there, he's right there. It is. So I totally get where you're coming from, man. It is super stressful watching Call of Duty.
Well, look, man, you've been a lot of fun to watch over the years. I'm happy to see you get, find some success in the game, and have some success with your personal life, having, same lady for over a couple years. That's an accomplishment for a competitive gamer, a young one too. So, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you giving me your time and giving me some insight into how your mind works in this space.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure chatting with you, bud.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
You as well, my friend.